Kia ora. I am back talking about grief, and that is such a heavy topic. And I feel like there is some facets of me that is experiencing this grief. And I think what better way to speak about a subject than to bring the subject into this atmosphere that we are creating. Grief entails so much, and I think for the benefit of where we are all heading, it is so important, and more than important but vital, that we expand our container of safety to experience the essence of grief whilst transforming that energy and integrating the strength of grief into our embodiment of life. And what I mean by that is, I think that all profound experiences, and by profound, I think impactful experiences, create this portal where we have the opportunity to climb into this portal and be transformed and reborn into a new reality, because the experiences that we are having are interacting with our system, transforming the way we interpret the world, therefore shifting our perspectives, our speech, our actions, our belief systems into a newness. And I think the more we can be aware, intentional, and facilitating of our experiences, the more we're able to align our becomings with the path ahead that we want to be walking. The more we are able to be intentional about how things are going to create us as. I think what I'm saying is, the more we are able to be the leaders and the crafters and the creators of our world, and not allow the external experiences to impact us and throw us around where I don't even want to go into the past of how things have impacted us and programmed us into a state of uncontrol. And I'm also not wanting to have an unhealthy sense of control of life, but a healthy sense of being able to respond to life and being able to integrate things intentionally, that we can be a work of art in all of our beauty and all of our ugliness and all of our wilderness and all of our what is that word? Civilizedness. And so I think that although each and every one of us experience grief in different ways, to allow ourselves to be. My daughter just came in to bring me the mail. So I think that the more we can contemplate the discomforts and allow ourselves to move smoothly through those uncomfortable, zingy energies, rather than distracting ourselves, suppressing that zinginess, and threading that fast-paced societal existence into our internal worlds, where really the internal worlds are requiring for us to be a little more slow, a lot more patient, and much more intentional about how we handle ourselves in those uncomfortable, transitional spaces in our worlds. Grief for me is loss. And it is a loss that knocks our existential axis into an expansive abyss where a reality which was once known has now become a void with the echoing memories of familiarity. And in this void grows this vortex that is invoking the multitudes of expressions to fill that void. And once upon a time, I would smoke and disassociate. And by pouring that type of embodiment into this void, this vortex, I then began to rebirth these realities where I needed to be disassociated, where I had reliance on external substance to soothe my internal tornado. And would I call it soothing, or would I call it suppressing? To now where I uncomfortably ease my awareness into the discomforts, and I do the gardening. I weed out my feelings of unsafety within these zingy, uncomfortable emotions and energies, and I plant in nurturing voices of encouragement. I allow spaciousness created by breath, intentional breath, breathing in safety and exhaling stresses out of my system. Allowing myself the slow settling winds to bring me back to a neutral space where I know that I am safe in grief, where I know that the releasing of tears is a healthy experience, where I know that all of what I'm experiencing in these moments is acceptable, and where I also know that these experiences aren't forever, that they are transitional. And these transitional moments require nurturing grace, love, forgiveness. And I spoke about forgiveness in a previous video. I'll link that one down in the description. There are so many opportunities to feel grief, which is why I think within those experiences it is so important for us to create our own Garden of Eden, where we are not being lulled into a melancholy experience of life, and instead we are experiencing more bliss in the challenges and more trust in the unknown, allowing for the senses of God to reach into and pierce every single reality we exist within. And that is love, that is grace, that is forgiveness, that is humility, that is acceptance, patience. And the more we can pull on these resources to keep the energy moving, stretching, yoga, exercise, dancing, singing, being out in nature, Mother Earth. These experiences can knock our existential axis so much so we can go flying off into these alternative realities that live and exist within the imagination, within the mind. And our imagination is such a powerful gift. And to every beauty of an existence is the polar opposite existence, where the strength and the sharpness of our imagination can turn back on us. And our mind is unable to share with the rest of the nervous system that this is just imagination. Instead, our nervous system is having a physical response to the imagination experience. Imaginative experience is triggering a physical sensation throughout the body, and this is how manifestation is created. But that's another discussion. But I hear discuss it, I hear share it, and so I'm going to climb into that. The more we can create blissful experiences for our nervous system, the more we expand that air of blissfulness out into our reality. And that doesn't look like dissipating all challenges, but it looks like showing up into those challenges with a calm and graceful confidence that because bliss lives within me, I can weave this blissfulness into all challenges. And when I say I mean we. I am not sharing this to get this off of my chest. Well, actually, there is a facet of me that's like, share, speak, but I'm not sharing this just to talk about myself. I am sharing this to encourage, to be of use, to be of service. When we can expand these containers of safety to exist wherever we are, through allowing the senses of God to pierce through all realities. I'm not talking about religious God. If that is where you are, then you talk about that and you embody that. But God is accessible for all peoples, and religion will not shut people out of experiencing God. I am a firm believer and follower of Yeshua, and I am anointed to share that the churches are not the only place that God exists. And each and every one of us will be guided along our own spiritual journey, and that spiritual journey will be an outpouring of guidance from the internal source. We are not our past, childhood, traumas, the cloudiness. There is clarity within each and every one of us. And when we find resonance external of us, of that clarity, we elevate further into that clarity. But we do not allow external sources to program us without that resonance, without that internal clarity, that internal access to God, expanding, saying, yes, I'm in the right place. This place is expanding the light that is I. This atmosphere is clearing away the bog and the fog and clarity is mine. And that is a simple way to discern whether or not we are allowing ourselves into spaces around people who are adding clarity or fogginess to our reality. And then within that discernment is also self-responsibility and self-accountability, not always to remove ourselves from these environments, because you know what? People aren't always privileged to remove ourselves from bogginess and fogginess, negative realities. Some of us have been planted in the depths of these realities to be the sunlight that shines and removes the shadowy valleys. And so I encourage each and every one of us to learn more safety in the uncomfortable emotions and experiences. Breathe in the strength of that discomfort and transform it to be of service to you. Feel the strength. Don't run away from it. You are strong, you are capable, you are willing to overcome all adversities in your life which were placed to make you stronger, to craft your grace, to make you more aware of the healing capacities of forgiveness, to learn how tuning into breath is a returning back to home. Aroha, love. Aroha, aro, focus, ha, breath. Focus on the present breath that is love, the source of our connection to our Creator. I love you. Mā te ngā kauaroha koe ārahi. Let a loving heart guide your decisions. Blessings. Te hō ki oi.